by CA M. Surendra Reddy garu, Bangalore.
Hi, namaste everybody.
I think his connection has lost. Ramesh, please play the motor song. Before moving forward, we will play the motor song. Please put your heart on your, put your hand on your heart.
Yaesha supteshu jagrati. Yaesha supteshu jagrati. Kamam 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 kamamsho pursho nirvimanaha nirvimanaha tadeva shukram tad brahma tadeva amritamuchyate tasmin lokah sarve tadunatyati kaschan etadvaita
Narayan, is it okay for you? Please unmute, sir.
Okay, madam. Will I continue, madam?
Yes.
Motor song is over?
Yes.
Let me brief about today's session speaker, M. Surendra Reddy, Chartered Accountant with 20 years of experience, Bachelor of Commerce, certified under the IFRS course conducted by ICAI, partner in Guru and Jana from 2004 to till date, a 4,000 people accounting firm, partner audit and assurance team, specialization in statutory audit, internal audit, compliance audit, concurrent audit, forensic audit, SOP implementation, IFC design and implementation, and special assignments. Industry coverage, e-commerce, retail and trade, manufacturing, research and development, service industry, software industry, hospital industry, infrastructure and real estate, power generation, education industry. Volunteer experience as a Vice President of Institute of Internal Audit, Bangalore chapter. At office, head of the audit wing, where specialized vertical have been built, has done SOP implementation for clients in Dubai, Kenya, and special assignments in Qatar. He heads the firm's accounting matters and ensures that the firm is first in the billion in filing the tax returns. I request Chairperson to give her opening remarks on today's session.
And today's resource person, CM Surendra Reddy sir, and colleagues at Managing Committee and other fellow members joined for the today's meeting. A very good evening to one and all. I welcome you all for the VCM on today's topic, Multidisciplinary Partnership Firm, a way forward. Members, as you all know, ICA allows multidisciplinary partnership firms, by which CA firms are now allowed to have partnership firms with CMAs, company secretaries, advocates, engineers, architects, MBA, and other who are permitted under Section 53B of CA regulations. Today's speaker, CN Surendra Reddy, who is a very senior partner in a well-established audit firm, is with us to explain the rules and regulations related to MDPs, which covers issues like profit sharing ratios, restrictions on taking up of the assignments, and various other related applicable guidelines relating to MDPs. I request you all to make use of the session fully. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. I first of all would like to thank Vijayawada SILC branch giving me this an opportunity to present a paper on the multidisciplinary partnership firms, and I would also especially thanks to Shrita to calling us and inviting us, and Mr. Narayanan. And thank you one and all the members who have been attending the seminar. And I hope all of you are able to hear me very clearly.
Yes,
In case
yes,
you let
sir.
me know
It's
if
very
I have
clear,
to
sir.
raise
Very
my
much
voice.
clear. Very much
Yeah.
clear, sir.
I'll just share my presentation. You're able to see, right?
Yes.
As you're all of you are aware that the Institute ICA started allowing us to practice multidisciplinary partnerships, and probably it's a very, very good move as far as the Institute is concerned. I think as you look at the business complexities and the way the business is growing, the way structures are coming and all those things, and it is probably a required sort of a move. And if all of you know what is it a multidisciplinary firm, if you have to look at it, at rendering many other services like under one umbrella or under one sort of a brand name. For example, if you have to look at it, a Gurujana, we can do some practice like a company secretarial practice, or it could be a lawyer's practice, or it could be actuary, and all those things can be done under one roof. That's why we are calling it as a multidisciplinary partnerships. And we could also render non-audit services and others, non-audit consulting services. And probably it could also be a focused engagement addressing specific risk identified probably the audit committees or whatever it is in terms of the internal audits. Many other things we can do under multidisciplinary firms. So as we go, let's learn what all we can do on this. Probably, if we have to look at it, what is the need of multidisciplinary firms as of today? If you look at it again, as I mentioned, business complexities have increased and business have grown multifold. Probably a lot of transactions keep happening towards the cross-border, and a lot of investments India is attracting, thereby a lot of mergers, acquisition, a lot of foreign flow of investments which keeps coming into India. Thereby very, very different structure of a companies, different instruments that the companies attract, the way they invest it. It could be a convertible debentures or a preferential shares or a different structure of a companies. It's quite complex in today's world. That's why this could be a very helpful, because as a CA alone, we cannot render all these services. That's where probably lawyers or company secretaries or a lot of other professionals also would help us in this and you're rendering the services to our clients. And if you look at it, a lot of complexity of supply chains, ownership structures have quite complex it has become now. And the specialized talent that what we require are people who are having that knowledge in that particular industry or that skill set is very, very important. And we need to also continuously develop on that particular skill sets rather than taking them as a consultant. Now we can attract them as a partners. They could be as good as their profit sharing partners. There'll be a good future for them. And as a firms, as a CA firms, we could also be rendering multidisciplinary services. As a client, they need not run to many other professionals like engineers or architects, or it could be the lawyers, company secretaries. Everything can be done under one umbrella. That is the objective in which the ICA has come out to telling us we can do this. Probably we can also see under what all the professionals we can get them into the board as a partnerships. Definitely the company secretaries, we can get them on board. Cost accountants also we can take them. Again, what are the definitions of all this? Company secretary as defined by the company secretary. Cost accountant again as defined by the cost accounting institute. And advocates again we can take them, but there is one sort of a catch here. that if they're practicing, a bar council member cannot become a partner in the firm. Otherwise, we can make them as a partners. That is only one limitation, because bar council side, they have not modified the law to accept this. That's why institute also is not given that. And from the engineers also can form part of it. That is the Institute of Engineers, and architects can become the part of partnership, and actuary also can become the part of the partnerships. That's where all these 6 professionals we can allow into as a profession. And as I said, the bar council members, if they're holding the COP practice, we cannot allow them as a partner. At the same time, even if they're holding a certificate of practice under the Institute of Actuaries also, we cannot appoint them as a partners in the multidisciplinary partnership firms. And maybe if you have to look at it, what would be the forms of the construction of MDBs as a CAs we can appoint? Regular partnerships can be, that is as per the Partnership Act 1932. We can form the partnership firm, or we could also form, because LLPs are allowed now, we can also form an LLP, that is limited liability partnership also we can form as per the Limited Liability Partnership Act 2008. Maybe we should also know whether multidisciplinary partnership firm, can it be a company? It cannot be. That's why it's called multidisciplinary partnership. As a company, you cannot render a chartered accountant services. At the same time, even if it is a company, is a partner in the LLP, also is not allowed. If you form that, then it will be a violation under the CA Act. That's why it is not allowed. Plus, if you want to do a statutory audit under the Companies Act, then also it has to be a clearly very multidisciplinary. It has to be a partnership firm or an only LLP, what is allowed under the ICAI. And how do we register, and if you have to look at the process? If it is an existing firm, we need to get the respective partners, admit them as a professional bodies. From respective bodies, we need to admit as a partners, whomever you appoint them, and then we need to file a Form 18 after appointing them within 30 days into the ICAI Council. If it is a new partnership firm which you are forming, and then we need to file the Form 117 for an approval of trade name, whatever it is. Once we get an approval, then we can go ahead and submit the Form 18 to the institute. Such MDP, that is the multidisciplinary CA, shall suffix after forming the partnership firm. We need to suffix the name after our name, that multidisciplinary partnership firm of chartered accountants in practice. That's what it has to come. It can be a short form also. If it is a Guru Jana, then we'll have to call it as multidisciplinary partnership firm of chartered accountants. After the Guru Jana, like that, we need to add it. Respective firms, we need to do that. And of course, what are the services that we can do additionally is, as a chartered accountant, what we could do, all of them, we could keep doing it. And depending on what are the professional bodies that you appointed them as a partners, it can be actuaries or company secretaries or advocates or engineers or architects, depending on whom we are onboarding them as partners, those respective services also rendered under the MDP CAs, under the practice. I think all of us know what are the services that as a chartered accountant we can render, and whatever the other services that is respectively, which is defined very clearly in the respective services, those services can also be rendered. As I said earlier, if you need to do a statutory audit under the Companies Act, the number of partners that need to be, suppose if you have 10 partners, the the majority of the partners has to be CAs. That means at least minimum 6 of them has to be CAs. And at the same time, you need to also satisfy the condition that the profit sharing, that the majority of the profit sharing should be to the CAs rather than the non-CAs if you need to do a statutory audit under the Companies Act. If you're not doing a statutory audit under the Companies Act, then you need not meet that obligation. Otherwise, we have to meet that both the criteria together cumulatively. We need to satisfy as far as the number of partners are concerned, and as far as the aggregate share of profits in a MDP also has to be more to the CAs, at least more than 51% of the share of profits, or at the same time number of people also. We have to give an example, as I said, if it is 10 partners, more than 6, it can be 6 or more. And if it is a share of profits, it has to be 51% and more for the CAs to satisfy the condition for doing the statutory audits. And when you have to establish a branch also under the multidisciplinary firm, there are certain conditions that we need to meet. Every branch has to be headed by, of course, a chartered accountant, and we need to give as all the branch names and who are the members, partners, people who are available in the branch, addresses, everything like normal CA form provides. We need to give it to the council. There is a small exception provided there in case any of the branches is not able to head by a chartered accountant. Then it could also be headed by any non-CA member, but provided that we need to intimate to the council, ICAI council, and if the council acknowledges and allows us, then probably we can, even non-CA can head that particular branch. And when you register for multidisciplinary firms as a CAS, we need to also have certain other obligations. We need to submit all the documentary evidences in case of partners who are not as CA members. If it is CA members, of course, it's a partner, whatever the CA membership and all those things, ICAI Institute has it. If it is a non-CA member, we need to provide the respective certificates, which has to be attested by, again, a CA. The CA has to be somebody who is non-related to MDP, of course. He has to certify the accuracy of it and truth and the validity of the certificates of the member of the respective professional bodies. Then all these certified documents along with the Form 18, we need to submit to the ICAI Council for the registrations. And but also question comes whether non-CA partner can be an engagement team, can be a part and parcel of the engagement team. Definitely, because CA Institute itself is allowing being a partner, they can be always be an engagement person in the team. It's definitely assume that any of the internal audits we are rendering or a statutory audit, so we are doing it, probably there can be a technical evaluation that has to be done. Probably we can take a engineer's help or something like that, but it cannot be a conflicting services, of course. And as a team, he can help us. And maybe when we get an actuarial certificates from the external parties, it can be reviewed. Those certificates can be reviewed by our internal actuary partner and suggest whether it is the assumptions taken or whatever it is right. And in case if they have to even a secretarial documents, compliance, if it have to be reviewed, if you have partners in our multidisciplinary firms, and company secretaries can review all the documents, especially when we are doing big companies and listed companies audits and such kind of things. Secretarial compliance is a key in that aspect. That's why we can always, that partners also can be an engagement team. There is no restriction as such on that regard. what I've done is I've also, not only the provisions, I've also taken some of the FAQs, and I'm addressing the good kind of questions that arise there. That's why I'm analyzing before itself. And maybe you can keep any of your questions in the end, and I would be glad to address those also in case if it is. And a lot of other audit engagement, other than audit engagements, also can be done. Maybe we would also be doing tax audit, bank audits, and even MDP, even other partners can do all this audit of cooperative societies and all other services that is being defined under 2.2 of CA Act also can be done. And services allowed to the perform other professional bodies also who are the partners who are joined, and they can also render all that particular services, which some of them which I've enumerated. And other FAQs also answered. Can MDP can be formed without the CA? Definitely, it cannot be done. At least one member CA has to be there in the form to form any multidisciplinary CA forms, because otherwise it is not allowed. Plus, suppose in case if all the CA partners in MDP, in case of diseases, that the partnership deed also should address that it should not get dissolved. Probably we should admit a CA partner later. If you are not able to admit, you can continue the business, but you cannot do any of the statutory audits, definitely. And even a partnership deed is having a specific clause that the death or a retirement of a partner shall not dissolve the MDP as CA practice should be there in the partnership deed. These are the things that when we form the partnership, these are the things that we need to take care in the partnership deeds. And of course, along as CA guidelines, whatever it is provided in the for the regular firms, that what are the advertisements, sort of a guidelines that they're provided, we need to follow all those guidelines with respect to the advertisement, with respect to networking and creation of website, and as well as visiting cards and everything. We need to provide, we need to follow the same guidelines that other firms, non-MDP firms, whatever we follow, we need to follow for the MDP-CA firms also, definitely. That's another sort of a clarification which is provided. And whether the share of profits with the non-CAs is allowed. Yes, some extent it is allowed. There are certain exceptions which is provided. The member of ICAs definitely that which is already defined. And clause 3, certain exceptions it is member of other professional bodies, whatever it is defined in the within this act, other professional bodies like cost accountants, company secretaries, architects, and actuaries, and as well as the general principles of civil laws also that is provided only with them. Exceptions only with them we can share, not any other people. And if you have to look at it, what are the other disciplinary proceedings that we have to follow is respective acts that we need to follow. The chartered accountants have to follow the Chartered Accountant Act, and cost accountants, we'll have to follow the Cost Accountant Act. All those will fall onto that, and company secretaries, respective act, they have to follow under the disciplinary. Same with the actuary and provisions of actuary also we need to follow. Which any other things which doesn't fall under that, we need to follow the general principles of civil laws. Those are the guidelines that we need to follow in case of any there are disciplinary actions. There are some more frequently asked questions. Whether can we appoint MBAs, can be MDP partners? Definitely no. As per the clause 4 of part 1 of Schedule 2, if you look at it, MBs cannot become a partner of MDP because it is not defined under that particular act. Other than those 6 professionals, we cannot appoint them, anybody else as a partners in the MDP CA firms. and whether there is any ratio or a number prescribed for different partners of MTPCA in the practice. Definitely is no such ratios or numbers is prescribed. However, MTPCAs in practice should have a majority of CA partners, which I clarified that already. Especially if we want to do the statutory auditors, we need to comply with that, and in the profit sharing ratio also have clarified that. And whether there is any need to obtain a permission of other professional bodies of implementation of provisions of MTP practice, we need not do that. Definitely we need to, because CA regulation itself 53B, everything is covered there. A specific permissions need not required to be taken for the MDPAs. In case of conversion of existing CA firms into MDPs in practice, whether the new FRN will be required, yes, we need to require. When we write to the CA Institute, the regular firm we convert into MDP CAs, definitely Institute will give a different FRN number. With the FRN, maybe they will give the existing number with the FRN as a prefix, and it will continue. That's the indication that it is a multidisciplinary firm, definitely. And the other question which might arise is whether the CA partner of a MDP CA practicing can become a partner of other firms or engage in the other occupations. Definitely he can, but it is subject to the whatever the provisions that ICA allows, or our partnership deed what it allows. If a partnership deed allows, a partner can be a partner in the other partnership firms, or whether he can practice as an individual. That purely depends on the partnership deed of the respective firms. If it allows, it can be allowed. Otherwise, it is not allowed. It is restricted to the respective partnership deeds. And another question which is also arises, have the Charter of Accountant Act 1947 and its regulations specify whether a foreign qualifications equivalent to CAs can be accepted as MDP CAs in practice? As of now, Council is not identified anybody as on date. Maybe in the future they might allow. As of now, it will not be. Probably, maybe who knows, we can definitely add them. I think it's very, very crisp. Probably I was also thinking it will not take 2 hours. I think I closed it very, very early. Probably I'm free to take any sort of questions, ma'am. I'll stop sharing the. You're not able to see the presentation, no? I think a small topic, I've given a gist of it. Probably any questions, members, I will be glad to answer.
Yes, you can place your query on your chat box. That actually it is a very rare subject, and I feel difficult to find a speaker also, but you accepted our invite. Thank you so much, sir. And thank you, sir, for going deep insights of today's subject and having a detailed deliberation of each clause of CA regulations applicable to MDPs and clarify a number of doubts by going through the FAQs. Thank you, thank you so much, and thank you all members for your patient listening. And also on 26th and 27th we are having two another programs, VCMs on Code of Ethics and AQMM. Please subscribe for that also. Thank you, Anil.
Thank you so much. No questions, ma'am?
I think no questions.